Yeah, let's boot it back up.
It's on.
Where's Rudy? All right, ready? I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Wyckoff Township Committee to order.
They left.
Yeah. You ready?
Yep.
Oh, okay. All right. Call up the flag salute. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, please remain standing for the invocation by Father Bill from St. Nicholas Greek Orthodox Church.
Let us pray to the Lord. Lord our God, regardless of what background, denomination, or faith creed we believe in, you are the all-powerful, the almighty. We ask you to guide us this evening, to give us discretion, to give us harmony, to give us peace in the world. We pray for those who have gone before us, those who cannot be with us this evening, those who are less fortunate than we are, and for you are holy now and ever to the ages of ages. Amen.
Thank you.
This regular meeting of the Township Committee of the Township of Wyckoff is now in session. In accordance with Section 8 of the Open Public Meeting Act, I wish to advise that notice of this meeting has been posted on the bulletin board in Memorial Town Hall. Copies been filed with the town clerk. Copies were sent to the Ridgewood News, the Record, and North Jersey Herald and News. All newspapers with general circulation throughout the Township of Wyckoff. At least 48 hours prior to the meeting, the agenda was posted, filed, and mailed to the papers. And I note those present.
Thank you.
welcome.
Before we do public comment, we're going to do two of the presentations. We have a donation presentation of a check by St. Nicholas Greek Orthodox Church and the American Hellenic Educational Progressive Association to the Wyckoff Ambulance Corps and Volunteer Fire Company Number 2. I believe, Joyce, you've given me the name of the church members that are going to be here. It's Charles, Jim Mostopoulos, Paul Goutlet, Nick Persos, and Father Bill. I hope I didn't butcher the names.
Somas.
All right, so we're going to do that presentation now.
on
If you want to come up. Correct me if I've mistakenly,
Goulet, Paul Goulet, like Robert Goulet.
there you go.
No
Thank you. Goulet.
Did he get anyone's name right? That's the real question.
Very good.
Charlie.
And we'll call up the captain of the ambulance corps, Haley Rooney, and
Chris Joachim.
Chris Joachim, sorry. Yeah, I've got my camera out.
I'll take it.
Oh, perfect.
A little smile. There you go.
All right, we should.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
The Township Committee is going to join you for a photo as well.
I'm just gonna watch your step, I'm gonna put this back here. Tape on here. You wanna hold the check too? Maybe you and Chris holding the check up front? Chris? In the back.
Oh, here.
Oh, come on in.
I always have that right. Especially when we have fourth graders.
Thank you, everybody.
Always good to see you.
Again, thank you. Have a bill.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, very good. All right,
Does he want to say something or anything? No.
does anyone want to say anything regarding the check presentation? You certainly are welcome. No? Thank you for your donation. This is,
I just left these pamphlets here.
go ahead, you can grab them. But thank you so much.
I'll
for
make
your
sure I
your-
get one.
Thank you for your generosity to the ambulance corps and the fire too.
This is our major fundraiser.
Thank you. May 20th cigar extravaganza. Very nice, thank you.
We get over 450 people there.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
we're going to do one more presentation. There's going to be a presentation of a check to the Township Committee from the Wyckoff football boosters towards the cost of the construction of an artificial turf field on Memorial. I want to call up Roger Schnorbush, who spearheaded the raising of $400,000 by opening his house and his yard many times to do the fundraisers, many of which most people in this room went to. And it was just a tremendous public partnership, private partnership that we've entered into to try to get this field turf done. Our football program this year, the juniors, which my son was part of, and played on the field that is going to hopefully be replaced with the turf. He never played sports before. He was welcomed into this football program and was coached by some of the best coaches I think I've ever seen at the junior level. And he's unfortunately not here tonight, but he's going to be coming back next year because he had such a good time. Unfortunately, he was not on the A team, but he was on the B team. But that's the great thing about the football program. You don't need to be an A player. You can be a B player and still play. So everybody gets to play, and he enjoyed it. So I am really proud that he was able to fight through what he needed to. I was concerned he wasn't going to make it through the first week. And he struggled. He struggled because, he was a little overweight, and he made it through. He finally got through the runs, and by the end of the season, he wasn't the last kid doing the laps. So he got better, and he complained a couple times to my wife about going to practice, but he never complained about going to a game. So, and I told him that. So, and Tom wants to say something too, because he recognizes what Roger and the football boosters did.
Yeah, well, as the 2020 liaison to the rec program, I came just in time. Reminds me when I became mayor last year, first 2 weeks we got ShopRite open, so timing's everything. But I want to do a special thank you because I've been around the last 3.5 years. And special thanks to our football, baseball boosters for your passion and commitment over these past 3.5 years, raising funds only focused on one thing, our kids, and the betterment of all our rec programs. So hats off to all of you that were involved. Special thanks obviously goes to Roger Schnorbush, who is definitely the biggest cheerleader, and his generosity in fundraising and beach parties at his home and his personal outreach is totally unmatched. He's way beyond I ever thought of being. Jeff Hagee, Ken Puglisi, and Amy Nightingale complete what I call the four horsemen. They did a lot of the work. They did a lot with a lot of help, a lot of assistance, but they were the four key people. So on behalf of our beloved town, I want to thank you tonight for all of your generosity, all that are here. We're grateful to the many parents and the supporters to this project, and recognize also Scott Fisher, who spent a lot of time getting things ready. He's a DPW director, in his hard work and ensuring that we move forward. So it's a great night to celebrate, and from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of the Township Committee, could say it themselves, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, go ahead if you want to say.
I just wanted to say a quick something. For everybody who knows me in this room knows that me and Roger, back in 2018, kind of butted heads over the project a little bit. I had a lot of questions about the finances, about the field, and I want to thank everybody involved for working for the past year and a half to answer all our questions, to hammer home how much money they were raising and how much this field was needed in the town. And I want to thank all the boosters for their dedication to the project and to the kids in our town. So thank you and congratulations.
Yeah, and since 2017, when I first got on this board, I've been involved with watching the project grow. With my son, Matthew, finally playing on it this year, I recognized the need for this field turf project even more than before. My son also played baseball on it, my oldest son, and they would get rainouts constantly on that field. The fact that they were in the Super Bowl for the juniors and the Pee-wees this year, and they weren't allowed to play one playoff game at home because they didn't have the field turf. Because that's what every other Bergen County town that they play has. They're allowed to play at home. But since we didn't have the turf field for football, they had to play either renting a field in Franklin Lakes, Mawa, or go to the high school, Ramapo High School. But that still involved an expense that they won't have once this field is here. And the beauty is going to be is there still going to be a grass football field to play on as well. They can have a grass game. They can have a game on turf. They're going to practice on the turf because that's what's going to be needed so you don't destroy the grass. Because if you look at that field, by the end of October, it's basically all mud. And it gets trampled. So this will be a beautiful thing for the township. So Roger, thank you. And I want to invite you and your boosters up here to present the check.
We're waiting for the speech.
Thanks. Very good. Do you want to say it? Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, come on, the rest of the township committee, come on in.
After we get a picture of everybody, we need to come and see. Actually, Melissa should be next to Roger, no? We really should. Appropriate.
Want to do this?
Yeah. Now you're talking.
Thank you.
We're going to have the voice of Wyckoff, Jeff Hagee, who has only daughters. He doesn't even have boys that play football. He has girls that were cheerleaders. So he's part of the program, and he's the voice of Wyckoff.
Thank you, Tim. So yeah, as Tim said, I have three girls. I actually had the pleasure of growing up in Wyckoff. My parents moved to Wyckoff in 1974. So I feel very lucky to be here. I do have three girls involved in the cheer program. That's how I got involved in the boosters. But they also play soccer and softball. And so, you know, as many people have said, this field's going to be enjoyed by all the kids in all the sports. So just want to thank the Township Committee for putting this project on the agenda for discussion and consideration. Thank you for that. And just in 3 short years, the fundraising efforts, as everybody knows, raised $400,000. We're very proud and excited to offer this money to the township towards the Memorial Field Turf Project. I'd like to thank the Wyckoff football and cheer boosters who spearheaded the effort to raise this money. But as you've heard, it wouldn't have happened without Roger Schnorbush. So let's have another nice round of applause for Roger. And just lastly, again, this field will be enjoyed by all the children of Wyckoff in all sports for many years to come, and will help them to prepare as they continue to pursue athletics at the high school level and maybe even beyond. So thank you very much again. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chad.
Thanks, Tim.
And a thank you probably needs to go out to Amy Nightingale as well for running the boosters and for the cheerleaders. So thank you. Where are you? All right, we're ready? What do you want to do? Yeah, come on. We're coming back. We're coming back now. We have to do a public comment now. Tom, before you come up, can you just move the mic back? Yeah, or Tom's got it. Tom? Other Tom. Thanks. All right, can I get a public comment, a motion for public comment period, 5 minutes per speaker for public comment on any governmental issue that a member of the public feels may be of concern to the residents of the Township of Wyckoff?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone want to address Township Committee? Seeing no one, can I get a motion to, go ahead.
I want to make sure that
Go ahead.
discussion was done. Lisa Idell, 408 Buckingham Circle. This is actually not related to the field. As a follow-up to back in June or July, whenever the ordinance was passed to put up the new flagpole, I wanted to see what we were doing in terms of putting up other celebratory or commemorative flags. You know, we have Black History Month, we have maybe do something for women's suffrage. I know you're changing the light bulbs, but we haven't really been using the flagpole, and I just wanted to know, was there a plan to do other ones throughout the
There's
year?
something on the
Well, we
flagpole
did
right
now,
now,
right?
correct?
February?
Yes, this month is Healthy Heart Month.
Okay.
We have purchased a Healthy Heart flag, which is flown underneath the Wyckoff Sovereign flag.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. Are there any other ones planned?
Well, June, there'll be
May,
the,
June, May.
In May, we have the Honor
Veterans
and
Memorial.
Remembrance flag for soldiers, and in June, we have planned, and we have purchased a
Pride flag.
LGBT flag.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys.
thanks. Anyone else? Seeing no one, can I get a motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the January 14th, 2020 Township Committee work session and regular business meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Mrs. Rubenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mayor Shanley?
Okay, can you call the, can I get a?
Stay here?
Sorry? Yes, I said yes, sorry.
Consent agenda?
Can I get a motion on the consent agenda?
Okay, all matters listed below are considered by the Township Committee to be routine in nature. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If any discussion is desired by the Township Committee, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Resolutions 20-121, celebration of the 100th anniversary of women's suffrage. 122, designate February as American Heart Month, and February 2nd as National Wear Red Day. 123, award contract for Greenwood Avenue improvements. 124, accept grant award. 125, cancel 2020 taxes per tax exempt. 126, professional service appointment. And 127, cancel taxes again per tax exempt. 128, payment of bills. 129, return of certain overpaid taxes, etc. And 130, transfer of appropriation reserves. Motions for this evening: approve the special event application from the Christian Healthcare Center for a spring flower sale at the gift shop and temporary signs from March 26 to April 4, 2020. Authorize a temporary grand opening sign at Jersey Mike's, and approve specifications and authorize sealed competitive bidding for K-4 grade summer recreation camp, and authorize the Wyckoff volunteer firefighter application from Jonathan Bradley. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Mrs. Rubenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mayor Shanley?
Yes.
Okay, we have one ordinance for introduction this evening, not on the consent agenda. Number 1905, an ordinance to provide a certain capital improvement in the Township of Wyckoff and to provide for the receipt, acceptance, and deposit of grant funds and donated funds and to appropriate municipal open space funds therefore, and to authorize appropriations of $925,000.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Just a few comments, please, for the record. Sure. I don't know if it was mentioned, it may have been, but the original Parks and Recreation Foundation had planned to put that turf field they started with at Memorial.
Right.
But the project grew and grew and grew, and it moved to Pullis because it was a larger facility, and they were raising more money, and it worked out great because Pullis was accomplished. But the point is, this is not a new project. This was begun many, many years ago, and the football boosters picked it up after Pullis was in and is carrying the proverbial ball across the goal line for us. Okay, thanks, guys.
That was good. That was good, Rudy.
That was very good.
Like that?
Yeah.
Good.
You must have been practicing all day.
Now, I also want to point out that in the ordinance for the Open Space Trust Fund, Section 3C says the maintenance of lands acquired for recreation and conservation purposes. So it's a permitted use of open space funds for this purpose. Now, having said that, I too am sensitive to the amount of open space funds that will be used for this and possibly in the future. So, in Ordinance 1905, we have a statement, a section that says that we will, in-kind contributions and donations are expected to decrease the total cost, which will be returned to the Municipal Open Space Trust Fund. So that's what I wanted to, I want to thank Roger Snorbush again for offering to have yet one more fundraiser for which the funds will go to this project, and also for other donations that are in the works, which will then reduce the total cost of the project and allow some of the appropriated funds that we're going to approve tonight to be returned to the Open Space Trust Fund. So I want to thank everyone for that. And having said that, I intend to support the resolution. Thank you.
Okay, any more comments?
I have some comments. I wanted to thank everyone for coming up and sharing their comments from the work session. For me, I feel like this is what municipal government open meetings are about, so I appreciate hearing from everyone. I love that there's so much support from the boosters. That's really great. It shows how passionate and engaged you are in this project. I would like to thank everyone for their patience with me in allowing me the time to do my due diligence for this project so I can feel comfortable that I have all the information and all of my questions were addressed. And I do appreciate Rudy pointing out the in-kind contributions. I think that is an important component of this ordinance, as well as the boosters for raising the initial money and for their willingness to hold an additional fundraiser. I do think that the health concerns are valid, and I appreciate your concerns. I also think that we would not have approved a project that would put our own children at risk and other people's children at risk, so I feel comfortable that that has been brought up and addressed. And it was just the open space that I had some concerns about, but I feel like that was also addressed, so thank you. Those are my comments.
Thank you for your comments. And with regard to safety, I have my oldest son, a 12-year-old, that plays on Pullis as a goalie. I'm going to have my soon-to-be 11-year-old, he'll be 11 at the end of the month, playing football on the new field. I have skin in the game as well to make sure that this is a safe field, and I do believe it will be a safe field, so I am supporting it. All right?
Okay, do a roll call?
Yep, do a roll call, please.
Okay, Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Mrs. Rubenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
An enthusiastic yes.
Mayor Shanley?
I'm very happy to say yes.
Okay, thank you.
You guys can clap if you want.
That was a good clap, Itai.
Excuse me, I'd like to tell my wife that we're gonna have another party this year. We'll have to address it.
No, public comment's over at this point, so you're gonna have to fight that on your own. But thank you for opening your home again, in your yard.
And now I can go home.
Yep. And the one thing I did not mention during my report is on February 27th, teens and cops are going to be meeting at the Y from 6 to 8 for grades 6 through 12. So if there's any interest in any of, they call them teenagers, but they're still 12-year-olds in 6th grade, so it's not technically teenagers. So that will be at the Y on February 27th, if any of the teenagers are interested in it. And then we just have one other ordinance.
Two quick ordinances.
Two quick ordinances, and then we'll be done.
Well, all done.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I have ordinance number 1903 entitled, "An Ordinance Authorizing the Appropriation of $600,000 for Improvements or Purposes Authorized to be Undertaken by the Township of Wyckoff, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, and providing the necessary funds therefor." For second reading by title only, a copy of the ordinance has been posted on the bulletin board in Town Hall, where public notices are customarily posted, and copies have been made available to the public. Could I have a motion?
I move the ordinance on second reading by title only.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Mrs. Rubenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mayor Shanley?
Yes. This is the time and place for the public hearing on ordinance number 1903. And all persons who wish to be heard, please state your name and address before making your statement.
I move the public hearing on the ordinance be closed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Wyckoff that ordinance number 1903B, and the same is hereby adopted. Municipal clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish a notice of final passage of said ordinance in the official newspaper for the township as provided by law.
I move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Mrs. Rubenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mayor Shanley?
Yes.
Okay, just one more. Mr. Chairman, I have ordinance number 1904 entitled, "An Ordinance Authorizing the Appropriation of $25,000 for Improvements or Purposes Authorized to be Undertaken by the Township of Wyckoff, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, and providing the necessary funds therefor." For second reading by title only, a copy of the ordinance has been posted on the bulletin board in Town Hall, where public notices are customarily posted, and copies have been made available to members of the general public who have requested the same.
I move the ordinance on second reading by title only.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Mrs. Rubenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mayor Shanley?
Yes. This is the time and place for the public hearing on ordinance number 1904. And all persons who wish to be heard, please state your name and address before making your statement.
I move the public hearing on the ordinance be closed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Wyckoff that ordinance number 1904B, and the same is hereby adopted. Municipal clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish the notice of final passage of said ordinance in the official newspaper for the township as provided by law.
I move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Mrs. Rubenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mayor Shanley?
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.